only direction that the coach can drive. And many films, especially advertisements, have been filmed here. Especially for cars like Mercedes-Benz and BMW, they like to use this piece of road when they release a new model, and then they film this car coming around the bends. This mountain is very unique because it has granite in the bottom and sandstone at the top. So this made it perfect for them to place a road on top of the hard granite rock, which made it stable. And the sandstone is very easy to cut away. And more towards the end of the drive, you're going to see that there's a part of the road where the road is actually in the mountain, like it's carved into the mountain. And you'll also see some nets, some steel netting on the side of the mountain. This is to prevent rock falls from falling onto the road, because we had some incidents of rocks falling in the roads. There were incidents also with rocks falling onto cars, and it was fatal. But this is the latest upgrade to this road, and it's superb. This is a common thing to do over the weekend, especially on a Sunday. Go for a Sunday drive with your family or with your wife or your partner. You can come and have a picnic here as well. right hand side up ahead, you're going to see this is Long Beach. Long Beach, also known as Noordhoek Beach. Right side, right side. Long Beach is very, very popular for filming and also horse riding. You'll see there's some horses on the beach there. Very, very popular for horse riding and filming. Also the movie Cocktail has been filmed here on this beach. Part of Table Mountain. To the British Royal Navy. Yeah. But today it is South African Navy. And in fact, South Africa, we had 1953, we had to buy this navy, this naval base. We had to buy this naval base from the British. Exactly, it's our land, but because it was there, they used it as a naval base, and for some reason we had to buy this naval base for 18 million pounds. 18 million pounds. We had to buy some ships, some submarines, and you know, these types of things. That was the agreement that they made. Yeah, nothing, we weren't really active in any war or anything like that. This was just a base for the Royal Navy. It's too far south, you know, far from anything, so we didn't take part in any war or anything like this. It was merely to control the routes, the travel routes. Yeah. So this bay over here, this is the False Bay. Area. Because of the rough weather conditions, the oceans used to be damaged all the time, and then they discovered this area of Simonstown, where even during a storm, this little area of Simonstown, the weather, I mean the ocean is always very calm. It's not so rough, so they used to come and park their boats here, and parking their boats here, you know, it made a lot of sense, because then it doesn't get damaged. And then later, when the British took over, they used this as a naval base. And then later, South Africa also used it as a naval base. Here you can see the metro rail, the train over here. This train comes all the way from the city of Cape Town, and the last stop would be in Simonstown. Last stop would be in Simonstown. But it's not a very safe trip to take. The trains are not very safe. There's some crime happening, you know, on the trains, you know, mugging, robbing and things like that. So people don't generally use the trains. Only those, you know, the working, well, people who can't afford to get around, like cars and things like that, they are forced to use this type of transport. And there you can see, if you look out to your left, in the ocean there's like a lighthouse, that white. Yeah, that's a lighthouse which has been built on a rock, Roman rock lighthouse. Winter season would be June, July and August. At the moment we are in summer, and we're going into fall. From next month it will be fall, March, April, May, and then June, July, August would be winter season. September, October, November, it's spring. Also a lovely time of the year to come, when the flowers are all blooming, and also the whales will be in this bay during this time. From August up until November, we have the whale seasons, where the whales come here and they come and give birth. So this is a very small town, very old Town, you'll see as we go through the main road, very very old buildings still in its original form. You'll notice this Victorian style architecture in the buildings. So many of these buildings are, over 200 years old. So this is all to the left side, this is all the part of the naval base. Now in the main road of Simonstown, and on the right side this is what I was talking about, the very old buildings, all Victorian style buildings. And what happened here was during when it was the British Royal Navy, this was in the 40s, there was a dog here called Just Nuisance. He was a Great Dane, and this dog was one of the only dogs at the time who was enlisted in the Navy. And when this dog died in the main road over here, he actually fell from the back of the army truck, and he died because of his injuries. But he was the very first dog in the world to die with full military honors. So he got all the whole military funeral, and he's buried on the mountain up top here. He was in service, yes. He was an able seaman. To the left here, you should be able to see a statue of this dog. Just over there behind those markets, there we go, there's a statue of that dog. Yeah, that is Just Nuisance. Just Nuisance. Because nobody knew his name, and when they enlisted him into the Navy, they didn't know what name to give him, so they gave it Just Nuisance because he was actually a nuisance. He was he was friends with the soldiers, not the soldiers, the sailors. He was friends, so the sailors would often go into town, they take the train, they go into the Cape Town to go and have a drink and things like that, and he would accompany them. He even had his own type of beer that he was drinking. And when the sailors would come back to Simonstown in the train, some of them would pass out in the train, and then he would grab them by the collar and pull them off and leave them on the platform. Yeah. And what happened was the conductor on the train, they always wanted to kick this dog, chase him out of the train because he was taking up space in the seats, or he would lay across the doorway, and people were sometimes afraid to walk over him. So he was causing some trouble. He was a nuisance. And the reason why they enlisted him into the Navy was so that he could get a free pass on the train. So those years the sailors, they got free pass on the trains. So this is why they actually put him in because the sailors would offer to pay his ticket, and the conductors, they didn't want this. So they enlisted him into the Navy so that he could get a free pass on the trains. He was actually from a different suburb, and he used to come with his owner to Simonstown on the train, so he was very familiar with the train coming to Simonstown. So when his owner died, he was wandering around, and he basically came with the train to Simonstown, and he made friends with the sailors. Yeah, and we've arrived again, so we're going to take a nice walk to the penguin colony. No, there's no, we're not going directly onto the beach. There's walkways, there's boardwalks. So we're not allowed to go onto the beach because this beach is protected, it's conserved for I almost said aliens, for the penguins. So, naturally we don't have penguins, coming from South Africa. All penguins come from Antarctica. So in 1982, we had some penguins coming over here, and like most people, when they visit for the first time, they see, it's beautiful, nice food and everything, and they want to stay. So these penguins, they decided to stay, and today we have over 3,000 penguins on our coastline. Yeah, and this is one of the areas that it is protected for them. So this is the best place to come and view penguins. One of the most visited beaches in Cape Town, and this is only because of the penguins. Okay, this is the jackass penguin. Jackass penguin. They call it a jackass penguin because they make the sounds that they make resembles the sounds of a donkey. They make sounds of a donkey. So the jackass is a donkey. So and we call them the African penguin.
When the shine come on, I wanna
아, 먹내나 방에서.